Hello.
On the troll.
Hello, and welcome back to Mzansi. We're back again. It is that time of the night where we have to talk about what happened in that court. So, yeah, it seems as if things are not actually gigging for the states. If you look at how things, how Mnis is poking holes with ease.
With ease.
It is with ease, and it is scary. The manner in which is really poking holes. So, one we can say, and we can say with ease, that there was no linkage, as we said, between accused number 3, Ncube and Kelly Khumalo. There was no such. So when Ngininda was probed about this, he is now talking about the number being written under a certain paper that talked about linkages.
It's a diagram.
Yes.
And the weird thing, how Mnisi was describing what the diagram, or kind of painting a picture of what's going on in that diagram, you could tell that it was connections with others prior to accused number 3. Meaning it's not even a direct so-called linkage with accused number 3. There's other numbers in between.
Yes. So that's what the investigator was talking about. In a sense, we can literally say that there was
no
nothing.
Linkage.
We probably had better than, we didn't need that long to listen to Stain. Unlike the investigator who stayed and checked with Stain for many times, only to find that he's still going to say the same thing.
Is that in his evidence in chief, he was using Stain's affidavit. And today, they are asking him to demonstrate. And he said he's not an expert.
Yeah, it is very scary.
He's not an expert. In fact, he didn't even want to look at that diagram. It was so disturbing.
It is very scary. It is something to...
It's like, wow.
Why would you make an example of such?
Wow. It needed to be clear. And thank you to Advocate Nisi for making it clear. Because these little things, these little stunts create a lot of confusion in the court of public opinion.
Yes, it does. It does. And it is scary how one can use words to create something that
doesn't exist.
Does not exist. And we must talk about that. We must not overlook it. There is no way of just overlooking it. You can just create something out of nothing, and then it becomes that.
What a ride. What a ride.
Yeah, we must talk about it. It's very, very scary. Because if we don't talk about it, then it becomes that. It becomes what you've just said.
The headline.
I'm happy that Nisi is using that. And is taking his time.
Yeah. Well, hi guys, welcome back to the Mzansi Reality YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us yet again for another deliberation of the Senzo Meyiwa Trial. Let's get into the things that happened in that courtroom rather yesterday. Proceedings started with the judge asking Ngininda how his exams were. Ngininda said that he did the best that he could under the circumstances, and the judge said that he expected him to at least say that he had passed. Ngininda said that he will see when the results come, and the judge reminisced about his time as a student and went on and on complaining about the 30% pass rate of today, or the 30% pass mark rate of today. Well, Ramasipele arrived a few moments afterwards, and Mnisis continued with the cross-examination of Brigadier Ngininda. And he said that he was feeling much better after the judge asked him if he was fit to proceed. I remember, is it you, Mr. Anonymous, saying that Mnisi was going to be fine? He looked on his A game today.
Yeah.
Nothing much to complain about. In fact, yes, he helped us to see the light.
Yeah.
To see better.
Yes.
Nisi started off by saying that yesterday he handed up a lot of statements, the one of Zandi and the one of Longwe. He today asked that it be handed in as an exhibit, and he said that it slipped his mind yesterday. He also handed up Khumalo's statement and all the statements of Longwe Twala and with those photos. Are you saying there could have been a linkage between Kelly Khumalo, Longwe Twala, and accused number 3? Ngininda said, "My lord, the court would recall that I said this was guided by the expert Colonel Stein, who informed me and thereafter then showed me such in his affidavit. So I was moving in the precinct. He is an expert in this area, and that's what he established and communicated to me, which then I utilized in my investigation when I applied for the warrants. I think it appears in a number of statements of such linkages, my lord." Well, Mnisi said that as an investigating officer, would you say that the evidence indicates that accused number 3 was complicit in the commissioning of the offense? And Ngininda said, "No. What I think it indicates is the suspicion of the involvement of accused number 3 is the issues that he has dealt with." He said he has indicated the issues of the firearm, the issues of the dreadlocks, clothings, without repeating these related linkages, whether they can corroborate what is being said by objective evidence. So this is one of the pieces of evidence that they found in terms of this bag of money that is appearing between her and accused number 3, her meaning Kelly Khumalo. So Mnisi asked him, "Are you saying that the downloaded similar pictures were just for purposes of investigation?" Ngininda said investigation is a systematic way of finding the truth. It was discovered during investigation process, and the interest that sparked that desire was triggered by the confessions that were made by accused number 1 and number 2, where Miss Khumalo's name was mentioned. And he said that they investigated, and when her name was being mentioned, and it is seeming to be indicating that there is communication between Miss Khumalo and the perpetrators, you need to corroborate that evidence. And that is where the search was embarked on, and these discoveries were then discovered. So it was not just an exercise that had no direction, it was corroboration and finding evidence if indeed it does exist. You know, he's speaking in riddles.
Can you imagine?
He's speaking in riddles. He's speaking in...
Yeah, imagine what we have to go through.
God, I am so tired. I am so tired. None of his answers make sense.
No, it's very scary how we you must trade with careful with him. Like, he can literally make things be legit.
I don't know
through
what
his
the
mouth,
plan was,
in my opinion,
with linking accused number 3 and Kelly Khumalo like that, especially if there's nothing to work with. I don't know what was the plan, what was the strategy. You know, in my opinion, I feel like this case was never supposed to be a public case.
Yes, that's how everyone would feel. That's how we feel. It was something that was supposed to, in my opinion, just get it over and be done with in a closed doors. Do we hear the news? Oh, the guys that killed Senzo, they are behind bars, and we're supposed to celebrate that. You know, that way of politicking.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it sounded like. Mautwan, thank you. Thank you very much. May God bless you.
Thank you, Mautwani. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Yes, that's how you would feel. It's something that was just supposed to happen behind the scene, and then we were supposed to hear the news. Like, let me make an example. Like Kreja's case, for example. because it was not a thing of a public per se.
No, it was a broadcast, but it was clips.
Clips ahead. That's what I'm trying to say.
10
We were
minutes
supposed to get it like that. This one of Senzo,
And it was a
but
long
unfortunately, it didn't. Imagine if we got that Crasher's case also. How many loopholes can we find there, and others that maybe these people have been involved in? Because there seem to be this pattern of like, I'm in charge. It seems as if people are in charge. They do as they please. And we are supposed to eat it up. Unfortunately, this generation is different.
Yeah.
This one, if they decide to take something on, they will take it and they will go and they will fly with it. So unfortunately, this time around, we have to make our own minds as the public, which is impacting this case.
Yeah. We have a job to do.
There's Twitter. There's everything changed.
Yes.
It's no longer the same. We don't just go with one narrative. We now get many sources involved. So that's a problem that I see with this case. Now it's difficult to get out of it.
What must be done must be done. You started, you cannot go back.
Yes, yes.
It's just a matter of hoping for the best.
Indeed.
But it is very bad. What is happening now?
It's not funny. It is not funny.
It's like have you ever felt like you're watching something crash, but it's going slowly before the final crash? That's what it feels like. Then Mnisi said, did you ever find a link between Longwe Twala and accused number 3 in view of those photos? Ngininda said that the investigation of cell phones was done by Colonel Steyn. This is the photos of the transparent plastic bag with money.
Yes.
And the way he does not want to comment now, that eagerness that he had with Ramusipili, even going ahead and introducing hearsay evidence, the eagerness he had in his own evidence in chief with Advocate Baloyi to talk about these photos and the similarity or the same picture that was found in Kelly's phones allegedly, and Longwe's phone and accused number 3's phone allegedly. Now he's all very meek about this situation. Ngininda said the investigation...
If you look at that bag, that money, initially we talked about it.
Yes.
It left an impression that it is the money that could have been the money that was used to pay these other people, you know. But now when you are probed up, and that's what if initially, if you just browse through it, that's how it sounds like. But after Nisi probes it, then you have a different view. What was the point of it being presented in court and being talked about in court? What were you trying to create here? It becomes now an issue of I cannot talk about. In fact, it was also used as a linkage at some point.
Yes, it was.
You know, so now all of a sudden, now we are reverting back. We are saying, okay, it was just there. What was the purpose of that money, that picture? Because it was introduced more like it's money, and that's what it is. It's hardcore money that you need to believe.
For the so-called alleged hit. That's what it was presented as, or that was the conclusion that whoever was listening was supposed to come to. Then Ngininda said the investigation of cell phones was done by Colonel Steyn, and he found the linkages between the three in terms of the photos. Mnisi asked him, did Steyn tell you how that linkage happened? This finding of similar photos in Kelly Longwe and Ncube's phones, Ngininda said, no, my lord, he's an expert in this field. It's the same as when you get a report from a ballistic expert. If he says there's a link, I can't say he must show me all the margins because I'm not an expert. expect. Same as the fingerprint aspect. You look for the results of their findings. Do you guys remember how eager and how he commented on DNA expect evidence to say that 2% meant that there was a match?
Exactly. That's how now all of a sudden we are reverting. We are careful now. And that
He's
speaks.
Playing dumb all of a sudden. And he's not an expect.
I must say this. We must point good things that are happening. There is something that is happening in that court between the defense.
What is it?
Between Ramsipil and Mnis, the connection, the working together and leveraging of each other and getting some of the things that could bypass the other one who's questioning. I see Ramsipil being involved, and I see the resentment of Ramsipil towards the judge, because he realized that every time the judge wants to escape from the pressure that he uses him. Yes. I saw him yesterday refusing that judgment.
The case.
Yes, I saw him refusing that, and it shows how now serious Ramsipil looks, and we must applaud that. Some of the questions you can tell they are coming from Ramsipil in terms of assistance and making this be efficient, because Nisi does not have that assistance that will be around him doing all that Ramsipil is doing. Plus, also giving advice, legal advice, there and there. Yes, Nisi is a seasoned advocate, but some of the things they pass you easily, and so it was even happening with Ramsipil. But at least I saw them coming together and assisting him there and there. And some of the mistakes that we pointed out with Ramsipil, Nisi has corrected them in terms of, for example, not reading these statements in fully.
Yes.
Nisi is refusing that direction of introducing that so-called evidence, the way of introducing evidence.
And not
everyone knows
Ngininda
it.
to ramble all the way to including testimonies of people that have not come to testify, will never come to testify in that court.
Yes. Even if she does so, you still go back and ask the same question.
I like how whenever he's not getting an answer, he repeats the question.
Yeah, so like we must commend Ramsipil for his work rate.
Yes.
Behind the scene, now we might call it.
No, he had a bone to pick, because I feel like they sabotaged his cross-examination.
Yes,
he didn't see that coming.
Yes.
And on top of that, he's too kind. He's too meek. He's too understanding. And they knew exactly how to take advantage of that, because they've been studying him. There's no way that they would have allowed such an opportunity to pass by, knowing very well that Ramsipil doesn't challenge or doesn't like to be in conflict a lot.
Yes.
So they took advantage of it. I don't want to lie. Listening to
So some of the questions that are coming, they are from Ramsipil, but now they are coming with a different personality.
An angle.
Yes. And that personality has a way of maneuvering this whole disturbance and objections and whatsoever. And that is the difference.
And one thing I can tell is that Ngininda is experienced in testifying. He knows how to navigate these questions in such a way that he ends up not answering anything. It's a skill that I'm going to assume that he's had.
After going to many courts.
Even the Krecha case, I feel like he's been in court cases quite a lot, and he knows how to stretch a cross-examination. He knows
how to not to say anything without.
Yes.
He knows how to recreate something that never existed to make it sound like it was indeed the case. And that we must give it to him.
And he spends a lot of time with lawyers, you can tell.
Yes, but then he does get cornered when he gets a proper lawyer.
It's just
that is going to.
Amina is on another level. I have never seen a witness who can stand extensive cross-examination like him and not be tired.
No, he's tired. He's tired. He's irritated now. He just.
But he has a way of hiding it.
No, it's not hiding. It's out there. You just need to see it. I think you probably are expecting what you've been seeing with
Tantrums,
others. No,
emotions like going out of the window.
he is tired.
And just be like,
He is tired.
I'm tired of asking this. I'm tired of this question.
You just need emotional intelligence when you're dealing with him. That's what you need, emotional intelligence, because that's what he's using a lot. He's got a way of getting under your skin in a form of, one might assume that he's respectful, but he's not. He's not respectful. He's very spiteful, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So you just need to have what Mnisi has. It's emotional intelligence. Mnisi would argue with you, regardless. Even the judge knows that Mnisi would give it back to you as much as you are giving it to him, with the smile. Whether it's a make smile, it's a makey smile, but it's a smile that is there. So that is emotional intelligence. That there is nothing else. It's not an issue of you have someone who's dealing with your emotions. You need to take it back to him the same way. So you can tell that if he starts being funny, Nisi gives it back very fast, and then after that you'll be saying, we need to assist the court, we need to we are not fighting, we will differ there and there. That's what he keeps on doing. And imagine him doing that to you, and you are an emotional wreck. You cannot deal with it. So Nisi is able to keep quiet upon that time. After giving him his medicine, he's able to keep quiet, let him finish, and not entertain whatever the submission that is making in terms of his feeling. And that is a very important part. That is a very important part.
I like how he's dealing with all these tantrums.
And then he would come back and say things like, no, don't worry, Genin, don't worry, Brigadier. We are going to continue. We are going to continue. Do you see? After you poured your heart, you feel aggrieved by what Mnisi said. That's how you deal with him.
Hi, Ngininda said that he did not have the expertise. He needed to ask Colonel Steyn so that he takes him through it. So what he's trying to tell us here is that he just took Steyn's word for it and did not ask him to show him how he came to the conclusion that there was a linkage between accused number 3 and Kelly via these bags of money, of pictures of money. That's in summary. Well, he said that Colonel Steyn would be in a better position.
Do you see how it is easy to move out of that situation and him not having to commit more on that situation because it is inclusive of Longwe? So did you see? In a sense, it helped him at some point to not ask Longwe because he could have been the person of interest, and then it keeps on changing. And now, all of a sudden, it is deemed null and void. It's non-existing. It's not important. It was never even supposed to be said in a sense. But initially, it was the main thing why they couldn't ask Longwe some of the questions, because they were suspicious of him. That's how strong you must be if you are dealing with the current witness.
Well, he said that Colonel Steyn would be in a better position to explain those things because he is an expert. Mnisi said that he recalls that there was a point where he was requested by the court to read into the record Colonel Steyn's affidavit that was subsequent to him having said that Colonel Steyn told him that there was a link between accused number 3 and Kelly Khumalo. Mnisi said that he objected, but the court, in its discretion, rather in his discretion, because the court is Judge Ratam Khwatleng. In his discretion, he then requested him to go to that specific section where he said that there is a link between accused number 3 and Kelly Khumalo. He did. Mnisi tried to stop that from happening. However, the judge overruled him. He said that the gist is that he had mentioned that there was a communication between accused number 3 and Kelly Khumalo. Mnisi asked for the indulgence to look for it in his notes, and he came back and he said that on the 8th of November 2024, in cross-examination by Ramasipili, you said the other aspect that you did not touch on was that there was communication between accused number 3 and Kelly Khumalo, either than accused number 5, according to Colonel Steyn. So the statement I saw, Ngininda said, and we can get into it, it links accused 3 and Kelly Khumalo. What is clear is that there is a link. That's what Ngininda said. And he said, now responding to what he had said on that day, Ngininda said that I said there is a link. And Mnisi says communication, that's where we are missing each other. He said there's a miscommunication.
So now
between
the
himself
link
and Advocate
is now
Mnisi.
divided into there is a communication and there's just a link.
Yes.
From what we were hearing from Steyn was that the link is a form of communication.
Yes.
Could it be an SMS
That's
or
what
it could be
Steyn
anything?
said. Yes. But now Ngininda
is paving his own way
yes,
of doing things.
Communication and a link is not the same thing. There is a link and then there's a communication. In fact, let me not put words in his mouth. He said not communication but linkages. On the statement of Steyn that he went through with Ramasipili, it says link between targets. Miss Khumalo is there, but then there are various people that are there, including accused number 3. Then Mnisi said that it was a question of semantics, but now that he has said it, it becomes very clear that there is a difference between communication and a link. Mnisi turned to
He did, in fact,
now.
say a link, or one may say a communication. That's what Ngininda said.
Yeah.
But
Now Ichigili.
it's well, and Nisi accepted that.
Yeah.
That's okay, you have changed now.
Link is no longer a communication now. Yes. Then Mnisi turned to Steyn's statement and asked for the pictures to be beamed on the screen so that the accused could see them as well. They then waited for those pictures to be beamed as they were experiencing some technical difficulties. But then Mnisi resumed by saying that there are linkages made in Steyn's affidavit. Please explain how these linkages or these linkages are happening. Ngininda said, my lord, I can't. I indicated that I'm not an expert and would not be able to explain this. All he gave me was a report where he showed me the linkages. In doing that, I would be venturing into a terrain I'm not qualified to do so.
Hey, High Court. High Court.
Yes, he forgot completely in his evidence in chief that he was testifying using Steyn's evidence affidavit. It completely went out of the window and he just didn't even look at that piece of paper or what was beamed in court. He was not interested.
But guys, let's just like the video. And I see someone saying there's a problem with the volume. I think it's on your side. It does happen. It's on your side. On our side, everything is fine, and I can attest because I'm also listening to how the volume it has been. It has not changed, so there is nothing that has changed so far. I think it's on your side. Please check your headsets and everything. But while you do that, guys, just please press that like button and subscribe. And we still are taking new members. If you happen to have that courage, please join, as everyone has been assisting someone with members. Also, we do accept that, and thank you for the gifts. That's all I can say. You can never ask for gifts. Thank you. Whatever that comes through our way, we say thank you. God bless you, and God bless you as you're also pressing that like button. We rely on you. Yes.
God bless you indeed. I know you're already blessed. You know, the heart that gives is the one that is most blessed.
So this Kotama vase.
Mzansi Reality family members are covered when it comes to God's blessings.
This Kotama vase. Thank you very much, guys. We appreciate you. We really, 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 with our heart, appreciate everything. So yes, please sort out your volume because we don't want to leave you behind just because you have an issue of volume. You are here. Press that like button, and I'm happy we are halfway because we have 441. We also have 214 likes. Let us push more, guys. Let us push more. Those who are using two accounts, don't forget to like on the other one.
Please.
Yes.
Nisi then said, let me help you, and directed him to a diagram giving the analysis of what is represented in the diagram in word form. Nisi read a part there, a sentence or a bullet point that said that the first point said that there is a contact between Kelly Khumalo, and then listed the number. Another bullet point said that, and another cell phone number which allegedly belonged to Fisoguhle at Ntuli. Ngininda said that there is no heading or a sentence that says that those bullets form explaining the linkages.
Yeah, but if this was in another court, I tell you now, kid you not, that judge will be fed up. If it was on another court, if, like, for instance, we're dealing with an issue that is currently happening when it comes to the Palapala issue, the other judge of Nokala, who's really not taking any prisoners with him.
Hi, some blaming me no mama Senzo. Ungathi she was onto something. Hi, Gabi. Ungathi she was onto something. You know.
Why do you think so?
Living through the traumatic apartheid era, and then coming to this side now, when everything is lovely, but then it seems like the worst enemy of the people of color is another person of color. It's just so weird. You would expect that they would want the most justice for you, right? You'd have that anticipation. In fact, you'd feel relieved seeing a judge. You'd see like, Lord, maybe they'll understand. And then you are traumatized. They now are speaking on behalf of the person that has traumatized you. It's so scary. It's so weird. But I guess it is a new era. Let's move on. But I'm like, wow, it's blowing my mind every time I look at judges that, maybe Mama Senzo was onto something when she was insisting on having a judge of a particular color. Well, he says that he would be venturing into speculation with Ngininda if he continues with the direction that Nisi wanted to take him to with the bullet points. Well, Stain would be in a better position to deal with this document because he was the author. The interpretation of this, Stain is more qualified to deal with it. These are just bullet points that Stain did that describe that diagram that you were supposed to have gone through with him that links accused number 3 and Kelly Khumalo, which is of importance. It's important. Why to Brigadier Ngininda in the state is because in the so-called confession, it is said that Kelly Khumalo called accused number 3, but today he didn't arrive. He was not interested in fighting for this. He just didn't want to look at the diagram. He just didn't want to participate. He withdrew. I was shocked. I thought he would go hard, and make that linkage. Make it, show it, demonstrate it. But no. Nisi said, what I'm putting to you is exactly what Stain said. Stain said the bullet points represent what is shown in the diagram. So this is not speculation, it's what he said. Now you are telling this court that there is a linkage between accused 3 and Kelly Khumalo, and that is found in this link between the targets. Remember, Stain actually in his first time testifying, he did explain the diagram of the linkages. There's a linkage. I remember that very well. It didn't make sense, but he explained it, right?
Yes.
So he said, now I want us to go through the exercise to confirm what Colonel Steyn told you about the link between accused number 3 and Kelly Khumalo by using this information in this affidavit. Advocate Baloyi raised an objection to tell the court that Colonel Steyn's evidence is on record. He said that counsel now wants the witness to interpret Colonel Steyn's evidence. How? I mean, he did it with you in evidence in chief. What? So it's not a big deal. He did it before.
All of a sudden now it's a problem.
How, Bagiti? Then Nisi argued that this is not about interpretation, but it's about what is contained in Steyn's affidavit, as raw as is. He said that he's not requesting this witness to interpret what is contained in Colonel Steyn's affidavit, whether having read that, he's able to identify what he claims has been said to him by Colonel Steyn, that there was a link between accused number 3 and Kelly Khumalo. I am trying to assist this witness to find a collaboration, as he would put it, a corroboration between what he was told by Mr. Steyn and what Mr. Steyn says is in his affidavit. Well, the judge reminded Nisi that the defense had previously warned Ngininda not to venture into expert evidence. He said that he doesn't want to speculate, but now he's asked to give an opinion on expert evidence. I get the court allowed him to do it.
When the court has, it was all good, and because the court wanted to hear everything,
the court
it was all
him
fine.
To do it.
All of a sudden,
why is it now the defense's fault?
The court is now taking that advice of the defense
they rejected.
When it suits
the court
them.
Rejected the objection. Okay.
Because that was sort of making the witness not to say whatever that they needed to say, and the court was limited in that case. So now all of a sudden is a problem that Nis is asking this man to do exactly what the court has been allowing.
R versus Hepworth. As Mr. Ramosepele would say, what is good for the geese is good for the gander.
Yes.
But in this court, what is good for the geese is not good for the gander.
No.
Well, the judge said, let's have progress, because he said that he can't. And then Mr. Mnisi
was being assisted in a sense.
Ramosepele had just reminded him that the witness did read the document when he was previously asked to read the expect evidence of DNA, where he was telling us about 2% being a match. So now he's surprised that he says that he cannot read this one. It was the same thing when he was requested to read into record DNA results. He, however, accepted the court's ruling because of fear of speculation and moved on, but was still on the same point. Nisi said there's nothing on Colonel Steyn's affidavit that explains the link between accused number 3 and Kelly Khumalo. Ngininda said, I was not in court when Colonel Steyn testified, but the explanation that he gave me took me to the spider web, and the heading there is clear. It links between targets. Kelly Khumalo is there, including accused number 3. His number is also stated there. There's a difference between reading and interpreting. I can read. I said I don't have the expertise to interpret what is being written here. So he saw the heading. I just said, oh, a table and a diagram and a spider web of linkages. There's a link. As long as Kelly Khumalo and accused number 3 are on the same page, there's a link. Doesn't that scare you?
It's very scary.
What about the confessions? If that is how he came to the conclusion. If he came to the conclusion by looking at a spider web heading telling him linkages and saw those 2 names in one page.
Oh, this is the same man. This is the same man who keeps on referring on exhibit HH and JJ.
So when Tanzi told him that is not me on that ID, do you think he believed in Tanzi when he said that's not me on that ID?
Nah, that's not how I think things would go. Does he give you the
impression that he's the type of man to say no once he's convinced of what he sees? Look at how far we've come with this link between accused number 3 and Kelly Khumalo. Look at how long it has dragged. He could have corrected it immediately after they told him to bring that statement where it says there was a linkage between accused number 3 and Kelly Khumalo. He could have corrected it, but no, he didn't. Now we're at cross-examination, and this is a bloodbath. That's all I'm gonna say. Well, he said, I can read. I said I don't have expertise to interpret what is being written here. That is why I said Colonel Steyn is the best vested with the abilities to deal with this part. Nisi then said to him, for the sake of completeness. This is what Colonel Steyn said. Colonel Steyn said that on page 41, the communication between Kelly Khumalo and Nkani. He went on to list the numbers. He also highlighted the communication between Ncube and Nkani. He also pointed out Ncube's communication with Mabungu Ntuli. There's also communication between Mabungu Ntuli and Bongani Sandiso Ntanzi. There was communication between Fisoguhle Ntuli, Elias Nkani, and Muzau Kalelwa's Themba Sibia. There's no link between Kelly and Ncube. And that's that. There's no link, guys.
No, there's no link.
There's no link. Ngininda said, as I said, my lord, my understanding is that there's a difference between communication and linkages. And in these bullet points that have just been made, it speaks to communication. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I
can't believe it. The linkages are made in the web, and Kelly Khumalo is there, including accused number 3. And his number, he said, I did tell the court that I do not have the expertise to interpret this. And that would lead me to speculate, and I would love to leave it at that. Nisi then turned to the pictures downloaded from Ncube's phone and focused on the picture taken on the day Meyiwa was killed on the 26th of October 2014. Ngininda said that the picture from the 26th of October 2014 that Nisi was referring to was one of the things that he considered. He said that some of the witnesses described a beige top and others said a brown top. Nisi said,
you try to kill that thing, it just doesn't die. That's how this man is. Like, really, you can say red is red, but he can come and say it could be yellow. Yellow wishing to be red. Then it's red, and then it's yellow. That's how, basically, this evidence is going like.
Well, Nisi said, did you go back to the witnesses in the house to find out if what is depicted in the picture is what they saw on the day in question? Ngininda said, no, my lord. Now at this point, I'm shocked. All I can say is, wow. So here you are. You find pictures of accused number 3, and you believe that it's him, right?
On the basis of the description of people that were in the house.
You don't even for once think of going to the people
to corroborate the story.
Wow, this is where I was like, game over. We are tired of this. And he said, and this is what we dealt with in terms of the ID parade. Kelly Khumalo's name came from the confessions, and they couldn't have run to her with this picture. But you had Makhumalo as well. You had Zandi. You had Tumelo Madlala.
He's able to give one reason that is holistic. So he's suspecting Kelly, but he doesn't say. They never said he suspected Makhumalo. And then he doesn't go consult with Makhumalo. No. He doesn't go consult with the Zandi, one who was outside.
The one who he always had meetings with. Zandi Khumalo. You didn't even for once show her a picture. This person, I strongly believe that is the person you were talking about in the statements. You didn't do that. He said they needed to exhaust the investigations insofar as the allegations were against her. So after the short adjournment, Nisi said that one of the reasons why Ngininda said that accused number 3 was a trigger man is because he was wearing a beige top. And Ngininda repeated that the people in the house described the person with the firearm as having dreadlocks, wearing a brown or beige jacket. Ngininda confirmed that he never went back to the witnesses after the receipt of these photos to confirm with them what was depicted in the photos. And he never went back back to ask them what kind of a jacket he was wearing, whether it was a sweater, whether it was a leather, whether it was a formal jacket, whether it was a hoodie. He never went back to find out from them that when you are seeing a jacket, what kind of a jacket was it? So Ngininda said that some of the witnesses gave more than one statement describing clearly what was the intruder wearing. He said that he came in but to take over investigations in 2018, where he was the signed lead. He said that he had all the facts before when
what
the focus
does that
was
have
now
to do with the
the
question
five
at hand?
accused. He already had a confession. I have no idea. But he would like to rub it in and bring it on and just remind us that he was assigned lead. We heard you the first time. I don't understand why.
Breadwinner tendencies.
Particularly when dealing with accused number 3, Exhibit HH and JJ that implicated all the 5 accused, including accused number 3. One will also remember that the issue of identification was done and the witnesses identified the wrong person. It's not the route that he would have followed. Nisi then said, one of the reasons why you say accused number 3 was a trigger man is because he was wearing a beige top and there was that corroboration in terms of the jacket. Nisi said one of the witnesses who was in the house described one of the intruders with a jacket that had a woolen collar. Ngininda said, I cannot paste the exact statement, but I may have come across it. But corroborating evidence either than the top was found. And when you look at the description that was given by the people who were inside the house, even that color is not consistent. Not all of them are saying khaki. Others are saying brown or beige. At the end of the day, corroborating evidence either than the color was found than the top of what he was wearing. So one should also not ignore the confession statement and what is contained there regarding the trigger point.
Say confession statement one more time. Well, let's press the like button. Let's press the like button, and I see many people are concerned. 508 people, 248 people that have liked. Just a reminder, please press that like button. If you really care about this channel, please do so. And if you just want to binge watch, I still welcome you. The comments are buzzing. Please press that like button. And if you cannot comment, come on, just press that subscribe, and then in a couple of seconds you'll be able to comment. Please do that, and then you'll be able to become the group that you see here, and do that respectfully.
Please be respectful. Don't be swearing.
Yes.
Then one has to be cautious of what that person says when he speaks to the police. Nisi said, I have reason to believe that there are rules that govern the applicability of the confession insofar as the confession statements that are concerned. Well, Ngininda said, we didn't get there, but I don't think it's necessary. I know you cannot use a confession statement by one accused against another, but it does not stop you from corroborating. Nisi then said, you will also agree with me that the garment worn by accused number 3 could not have been the only garment produced in the manufacturing of clothes. Ngininda said that he doesn't have the facts, but common sense dictates that there may be more, even with different sizes, but you cannot take it alone. But that's not the only piece of evidence that they were looking at. There are things like the dreadlocks and the one piece of evidence that we had to look at. But at this point, I don't care. I just feel like if you bought a t-shirt at some store and 10 of you bought that t-shirt or happen to have the same t-shirt, you are in trouble. You are a suspect according to how this man does his investigation, okay?
It's scary, man.
It doesn't even have to look exactly like the one that was described. If it looks something close to what was described, then I was thinking, Nisi then said, okay, you would agree with me that so many people out there do wear dreadlocks. Is that not so? And Ngininda said, we totally agree. There are many other people who wear dreadlocks. However, I don't have many of those people whom it is alleged that they are connected to the Cleveland case 96 of 2 of 2015 who were found with a firearm, and that firearm was then linked to the bullet that was discharged as this. The only person that was linked to this firearm was accused number 3. You know, after Mangenas testify, this is wonky wonky. It's not something that you can hold steadfast on anymore.
Yes.
It has been deliberated. It has been opened wide. It's not something that I am buying right now at this point that we are at, unfortunately. Nisi then argued that the court had not ruled that the firearm was linked to the bullet. Advocate Baloyi reminded him that he said that the firearm belonged to accused number 3. And then Mnisi argued, Mnisi can argue, Shem, Noma Vengatsini, Mnisi can hold an Mnisi, Shem, Yavara, this is where I was like, I am done. Yavara, this man can argue. Mnisi said that it was misplaced. And he said whether or not the firearm that was found in possession of accused number 3 is the firearm that is linked with the scene where Senzo Meyiwa was killed, it's a factor that will ultimately have to be decided upon by this court after hearing evidence. So it cannot be simply said that because that firearm was allegedly found in possession of accused number 3, then all of a sudden, even before the court makes a finding, then we're speaking of a fact that that firearm is the one that linked him with the scene. He said, I think that where me and the state differ in terms of what the law says, we cannot state right in the middle of a trial that the state is a matter of fact that it is this firearm that was linked to the one that was at the scene. Nisi said that the linkage between the firearm and the bullet is still under investigation. But Baloyi said that the investigation so far has established the link.
What link? We dealt with was it a different case where we dealt with how the evidence was actually obtained, the bullet and how it was obtained in the following day by some one mean lady who came there and testified. I'm sorry, but I don't remember her name. Mhlahlo, yeah. Yeah, so I mean we dealt with
Very
that.
Very rude lady.
We dealt with that. So all of a sudden, why is it now sounding like we have accepted that?
There's no acceptance, yeah. There's no acceptance. There's too many loopholes. There's too many. There's a lot, including the collection.
Msia was here giving evidence how they couldn't find the bullet. All of a sudden, some woman came with Mhlahlo.
The next day.
Mhlahlo in Zulu, we say it's that thing of Sangomas when they are going to call people's name. That's what Mhlahlo is. We will show Mhlahlo. Uyobhula in a way that has naming there. If
So
you
you're gonna
want people's names
and
to
put
be
names, people's names.
yeah. Umhlahlo ke lo, uyoshawa umhlahlo. So then some Mhlahlo woman came, then went straight to where the bullet was. And then some ballistic person came and explained some physics that a bullet would have. We were here. It was still the same code. No, not even the striation. How the bullet could have bounced back from the door, from the position of being shot down, and the bullet bouncing back. Trying to explain the situation, how some Mhlahlo women find the bullet there where
On
it
the
was.
kitchen counter,
So the
behind
bullet shot
glass.
Senzo, and it moved back behind Senzo's back. And it went in front of Senzo. So these are the things that are still to be determined by the same. They are still going to call their ballistic expert.
Yes.
So there is a lot of things that are still to be done. You cannot put it as a matter of fact.
Nisi said that is an argument that me and the state will have to come and present to the court with the view to try and convince the court whether or not is that firearm. The state is going to come and say that it is that firearm, and I'll be standing here trying to convince the court that it is not that firearm, despite the fact that it was found in possession of accused. The issues to say now in the middle of the determination, in the middle of advancing evidence, therefore we should then conclude that this is the firearm. It's misrepresentation of fact of a superlative degree, which is the reason why I'm saying to this witness that when you are saying that the firearm, except for all these other pointers that you try to investigate that would link accused number 3, the fact that you are saying that the firearm was found in his possession, it's your opinion. Because the determination is still being investigated. We have not concluded on that aspect. The court might find otherwise. There's still a lot of evidence that is going to come. Nisi was reminded also by Ramasipili that their own ballistic expert is not done. It's premature to say that the firearm that was linked to Mr. Ncube is the one that was found at the scene. Even the judge is like, yeah, I'm listening. Whenever your lawyer, when you see your lawyer do that, you're like, you know. And Nisi said, I'm aware that there's an objection, but when you say the firearm was recovered from the accused, that is still your own view. And Ngininda said, no, that is why I always refer to Cleveland case. That is where the statements are deposed. If I didn't have the statements of the police that found the firearm, then I wouldn't know how to present this evidence. I heard him talking about Bomasondo and stuff. Subsequent to that, there was a forensic report. Nisi then interjected and said, Mr. Ngininda, are you aware that my question was about dreadlocks? Ngininda said, but the question was that I made my own conclusion on the firearm. Then Nisi proceeded, Nisi said, do you remember that you said Mr. Madlala and Togo Twala said they wouldn't be able to identify the intruder? Ngininda said it was Mr. Madlala who said that he was 50-50, but the essence of their statement is that they were not sure of whether they would be able to identify the intruder. Well, the statement was commissioned on the 14th of December 2017 in Durban by Abednego Shibiri. And Mnisi said this is what Mthokozisi Twala says in one of his affidavits. He said, I hereby clarify that the guy carrying the firearm was carrying it in his right hand. He demanded money and cell phones. He said, I can't remember what language he used, but I think he was speaking isiZulu or Sotho. I can't describe the firearm because it happened quickly and I was scared. The firearm was black and I remember seeing the front. He didn't say much, but just asked for money and cell phones. He was wearing a hoodie jacket and the hoodie was covering his head and I could see the dreadlocks protruding through the hoodie near the ears. The suspect's complexion was between light and dark. He was not more light or darker. I want to state further that when I say a gun or a revolver, I mean the same thing, meaning a handgun. I don't know the different types of the firearm. Then Nisi asked him, did you have a consultation with Mthokozisi Twala on the description that he gave? Ngininda said that they did have a consultation with Mthogo, but there was inconsistencies in his statement about the intruders. It was light and dark. Yeah, but one person was light and dark at the same time. That's me. That's my opinion. He added that where he is consistent is about the demand for cell phones and money. He said that Ntogo is not the only one who was inconsistent with the description of the intruders. Zandi and Tumelo were also inconsistent with their descriptions. The gist of my question, Nisi said, is that you never went back to get clarity. Ngininda said, I consulted with him. Like I said, this witness made a number of statements. The witnesses must tell you what they saw. They detailed what they saw. Mine was to go through statements and seek clarity, not to be pointing out inconsistencies in the statements by others, because that would be influencing the investigation. Mnisi then said, Brigadier Ngininda, did you consult with them? Ngininda said, I did, my lord. And when you consult with them, you try to find out what is it that they said, and if there is more they want to say or add, bad. Nisi then asked him the reason why you constantly refer to Exhibit HH and JJ. Those are the confession statements. Brigadier Ngininda kept bringing them up every time he answered. It's like right now the only thing he's left with and relying on heavily with all of his everything is the confession statements. He said because you want to continuously tap into them and to find a corroboration that is independent. Ngininda said that he doesn't know what he meant by independent, and then Mnisi then told him that it's whether evidence of an independent nature aligns with what is contained in the confessions. Ngininda said that is correct. Mnisi then says, so the confessions are pioneering the motive to further probe whether there is collaborative evidence. Ngininda said not only that, there's evidence from other people who had access to accused number 3. The investigation did not start there. They started with the confessions by accused number 1. There are a number of statements that point to accused number 3, like the statements of Simpiwe Buthelezi and Gwabeni. Nisi then said on the same vein that you keep tapping into, the confessions I also found a lot that I could use into this cross-examination. When I went through one of the confessions, I noted that there is an FFC number that is placed there, written by Ms. Grunier. The number read as FFC 04415 of 2020. Nisi said that he could not find the number in the confirmation of registration of Mr. Mjiako as a legal practitioner. So this number that was on whatever Ms. Grunier had filled, the magistrate that took the confession statement of accused number 2. So when they used this number to try and find whether he's a legal practitioner, he didn't show up. Then he remembered, Umnisi said that he remembered that Exhibit EE, which is a copy of the charge sheet from the Boxback Magistrate Court. To it was attached, there was a letter also that came from Mjiako attorneys. This was a letter that came from Mjiako attorneys. They were informing the court that they were withdrawing from Tanzi as an attorney of record on behalf of accused number 2 in the Boxback Magistrate Court. And he said, I wondered what the relevance of this number is to this confession. Advocate Baloy objected to say that the witness cannot be approached with this information. Secondly, Ms. Crunier did testify that this is a Fidelity Fund certificate, which is different to a registration number of a practice. And Baloy said you can't compare the two. There's a Fidelity Fund certificate is one thing, and a registration number of a practice is a completely different thing. He submitted that it is unfair to ask the witness to respond to this, but also putting incorrect and misleading questions. Well, Advocate Nisi said that Advocate Baloy was kind of ahead of him and he was getting there. Nisi said that he thought that the two numbers were linked, but then he said to himself, let me not speculate. He said that this number could not have been written in the confession in vain. There must be a reason why it was in that form. He asked the state to assist since their clients are funded by legal aid, meaning the defense, and he was given the duty to the state to kind of find out what is going on with that number. Nisi said, I'm going to request that one of the investigating team go find out what that number is and whether it is linked to Mr. Mjiako on the letter that confirmed his registration with the Legal Practice Council. And he said, now may I request that I pause or stop this question for now, pending the outcome of his request. Well, Ngininda answered to this by saying that the first part of the confession statement is that he took me to the confession statement Now, he was now trying, in a way, in my opinion, to blame Nisi for mentioning Exhibit HH and JJ. He went on a rant about how Nisi is the first person who brought it up. He had started to use it to answer it because Nisi had brought it up initially. He was just all over the place, guys. And he said that now that I felt, in my opinion, that, okay, he's rambling like this and blaming Nisi because he's now seeing that it's opening a can of worms. Okay, Njiako has been a underlining, burning issue in that courtroom. You know, there's curiosity. There's a lot of unanswered questions about him, and now Advocate Nisi has brought Njiako again to the forefront. You know, and I feel like maybe that's something that doesn't want to be opened by the state. You know, and I also feel like Nisi should find out himself, or the defense rather themselves. They should investigate this number. You know, I don't think it was a good idea to include the state in it. I don't know, but I feel like they should do it on their own. Well, Nisi said that he was asking through the court to assist the court to come to an equitable finding, and Baloyi said that they will pursue it with the LPC. I was surprised at this. I was surprised at Baloyi offering that they were going to investigate Mjiako's LPC registration. But the judge said that it wasn't binding. He said that it does not bind the court. The court can't be asking people to go and investigate whether this donkey had teeth or not.
This is a trap.
Why?
This is doing that thing on purpose.
Why?
Because they need to find out what was that. Was that even the number that is at the LPC? And I'm quite optimistic that it's there and it falls under someone else. So therefore,
there are investigations that have been done by the social media street.
Yes, I think that's where the problem is, because they are defending and they are saying this is a fidelity number, my lord. We must find out if that number is going to pop up in Fidelity's side. And I doubt.
And as it pops up, is it Mjiako or is it someone else?
I doubt it's going to pop up. So they must come and tell on themselves. Nisi did that on purpose. They are going to tell on it. There is no other way around it. Unless in the power at hand and is capable of going and changing things very quickly on the other side, which could be expensive if it was to be done. I'm just thinking out loud. Let's please like the video. So that was a setup.
It was a setup.
He didn't want to say it. It was there in his mouth. He just didn't want to say it. So he's saying, go say it yourself.
Well, he said that it can't be done through him, and he can advise Nisi how to go about cross-examination on behalf of his client. This is the judge, and he said it's the same thing with the state, but if they want to play baseball together, he can't stop them. The judge rather looked upset.
Yeah.
He looked upset that Baloyi was willing to assist.
No, it's not even about being able to assist. It's like, how could you make such a blunder? That was the upset for me, in my opinion. It feels like, how can you allow such a blunder to go to court? How are we gonna be able to get out of this situation if there was any situation? Because after that, then it nullifies everything. Nullifies the statement in front of Cronje. There are a lot of things that are going to happen.
And if that LPC number is not there, or
if it's fraud
to someone else,
then someone must get arrested.
It's not good at all. So, is it also...
Sort of got a lot of things to deal with. Yeah, perhaps there will be no additional statements for now. The focus should be on that number.
So is it safe that since the judge is saying this, is it safe to say that Messi will not be getting that confirmation from the LPC?
You know what they are trying to what this is going to open the door for.
Mm-hmm.
They can subpoena now. They can call the so-called firm
To come and testify.
about the number.
Is it legit or not?
So they must find a way of bringing Nisi what he asked for. There is a lot at stake.
Because I'm thinking the judge kind of has just told Baloyi that he doesn't have to.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There are other
That's why I was
avenues.
so upset. Because I kept wondering to myself, why is he so mad?
It just doesn't matter now.
Well, Nisi said that in the event that they do not get that assistance, he will not come back to the court to say that the state did not assist. He said that he understood State versus Yengeni in 1986 that an arrangement made between the parties may not bind the court. But Nisi should pursue this still. Either way.
Yeah, he's opening the door for that. So if Baloyi plays around and keeps on doing merry-go-round, then the company is coming.
I can't.
The company must come and explain
I can't.
how can a name like that be used for something that it doesn't belong to, if there was such a thing.
Well, after the long adjournment, Mnisi turned to the pictures, okay? Mnisi said when you were requested to go through the photos by the state of firearms, Ngininda said yes, he recalls that, and Mnisi told him that that one of them was used in the commission of the offense. Ngininda said that he doesn't recall saying that in court, but perhaps in his statement. And Advocate Baloyi said we will let it slide. The witness has already said it was not part of the evidence. And the judge said, yeah, he remembers.
Yeah, that's when things are going left. You know, once you hear, I remember.
Yeah, I remember.
I've never seen a judge that would actually. There was a point where he was literally asking Baloyi, are you gonna stand up? Jesus.
Even now with this Mjiako situation, it's like you don't have to. I'm like, Aibo. Okay, fine.
Are you gonna stand up? Baloyi, are you gonna say anything?
Are you gonna say anything?
Are you going to
Those
object?
were good times. Those were good times, eh?
No, that's what he's doing now.
Well, Nisi said, what was your testimony then regarding the firearms when you led the state? Ngininda said, I was describing the firearms, for example, a rifle. I described what was in the photos. Nisi said, what would have been the relevance of including these photos which depict firearms in the photo album? Ngininda said, my lord, it was not part of the investigation, and one of the allegations is that accused number 3 was in possession of the firearm, and part of the investigation was to determine whether he had a license to possess a firearm. And we found that he does. And when we looked at his phone, we found photos of the firearm.
He doesn't.
And that was a corroboration.
We find that he doesn't.
Or he doesn't have. We find that he does not have a license for a firearm. My apologies. Then Nisi said,
did they find those guns?
No.
So what was the point of this?
I don't know. Nisi said, so what would be the significance of the photos in relation to the charges he was facing? Ngininda said, I think I have answered that it's in relation to the allegations. I don't think I should repeat it again. Nisi now went on to the statement of Warrant Officer Steenkamp, and Nisi took some time looking through the pages. He explained to Ngininda that it's because that they received the documents in a leaflet form, not bundled or anything like that, so they had to try and combine them and make sense of each and every paper as to which paper does it then follow. And he was looking for it. Eventually he found it and he read it. He said in the statement, Steenkamp indicates that she interviewed several witnesses, and the first person she interviewed was Kelly Khumalo. Kelly gave the following description: an African male in mid-20s, dark brown and shiny complexion, dreadlocks, no scars, golden inset, speaks local Zulu, wearing brown jacket in woolen collar. woolen collar. Wool.
Mm.
Did not look clean. Suspect was armed with an old black revolver. She could not describe the second suspect. So Mnisi said he would agree 29th of October 2014 is like 3 days after the incident. And Ngininda said it's 2 days actually, to be precise, but it was commissioned on the 31st, but yes, it's a very short time. And Mnisi said he'd agree as a seasoned investigating officer that witnesses' memory is prone to have a clearer recollection a day or two after an incident rather than 3 or 5 years later. So the memory would be fresh. Ngininda said when it comes to crime scenes, the assertion is correct. However, with human beings, it varies from human to human. We're not born the same way, and we may not have the same recollection
As a
of
psychologist,
things. It varies from individual to individual. He even included IQ level in there. I was like, yo. This is a lot. IQ ingena pike manje. It was a lot. So Ngininda said it's not a golden rule that all the information would be accurate with everyone. He's saying, I'm saying the details may not be similar, but the essence of what happened may be accurate. What I'm saying, though, is that the essence of what happened will be similar, but vary in detail. This is a whole lot of nothing. It's English, I know. But I don't have an answer. I'm left in the wilderness. Nisi then said in her description of the gun, the wielding suspect, she told Ms. Steenkamp that the suspect was dark brown with a shiny complexion. A shiny complexion. I don't know what kind of a shiny complexion that is, but it's a shiny complexion.
Shiny skin.
Is there any particular reason that this description may be faulted? Ngininda said the only way I can answer this is that this is the statement by Warrant Officer Steenkamp. But if you look at her statement in relation to the firearm,
under the bars, Steenkamp, yeah, under the bars.
She just simply says a firearm. The issue of the old black revolver is not there. So you see the inconsistencies, the essence that there were intruders with a firearm. There was a struggle and a shot fired, but the inconsistencies are there with the description of the suspects. Hence, I speak of the inconsistencies. So what he's trying to tell us is that Warrant Officer Steenkamp did not write what the witnesses were saying. Is that what he's trying to say?
Yes.
Nisi then said, interesting that you say there are inconsistencies with the description of the intruders. Now Kelly describes the intruder with a dark brown shiny complexion. Who else from the witnesses in the house describes the gun wielding intruder as not having a dark complexion? Ngininda said, my lord, I would have to go through all the statements, so I would not want to give an inaccurate answer. They speak to what they saw. Nisi then said, I'm going to ask you that, and we will come back to it. Who else in the house describes the intruder as not having dreadlocks? Ngininda said, I don't think there's anyone that describes anyone without dreadlocks. Nisi then said in her description of the suspect, she saw a firearm. She told Ms. Steenkamp he had golden inset in the upper teeth, a gold tooth up here, and spoke local Zulu, dark dreadlocks. Is there a reason this could be faltered? And Ngininda said if you look at the statement under oath, the old firearm revolver, in terms of what she told Ms. Steenkamp is not in her statement. What is consistent is that there were two intruders, the scuffle, gunshots, and relates to all the people in the house. What is not consistent is the description of the intruders.
You know what is fun about this?
This
man is denouncing a lot of things like that.
Yes.
The gold tooth. But you took Ntanzi to the doctor for that thing. Why did you do that? If that thing of Steenkamp is, why did you take Ntanzi to the doctor?
Good question. You were looking for a gold tooth.
Exactly. You were looking to match. I get it, Mr. Ngininda. You're looking to collaborate.
Yes.
You were collaborating. Yeah?
Instead of investigating.
I get it. You were collaborating. Everything.
Collaborating.
You know, that collaboration is like, now I'm thinking of it. I think it has ruined everything for me. So collaboration to me sounds like I'm going to look for something that is being explained by someone. Just match it. I would go around looking for someone who's got a gold tooth, look for someone who had dreads at some point around that time. That's basically not. That's like match column A with column B.
Yes, collaborate.
You're collaborating.
Corroborate. My apologies. Corroborate. You are corroborating.
That is
you
scary.
Are corroborating. Then he said, who else from the witnesses in the house described the gun torter as not having a dark skin? Ngininda said, I will have to go through the witnesses' statements to be accurate. Mnisi asked him, who else said one of the intruders who didn't have dreadlocks? Ngininda said, I don't think there's anyone who said the first intruder didn't have dreadlocks. Mnisi, do you realize that when you say when the people in the house differ in description, that's inaccurate? Well, Advocate Baloyi objected, saying that Ngininda said certain details differ. It's not a fair proposition because that is based on Kelly's description given to Steenkamp. Nisi then said it is this witness in the house that said that the people in the house are inconsistent insofar as saying that there were intruders, or are consistent in saying that there is intruders. But insofar as the description of the intruders, the descriptions differ. And Ngininda said, I have said the witnesses in the house description in essence of what happened is similar, but the details of the description of the intruders are different. Some of the witnesses would say beige and others say khaki top. It's the finer details that are not consistent. Nisi then asked him, you're basically correcting yourself in that there are consistencies in the descriptions. Baloyi then said the witness is not correcting himself. Then Nisi moved on, asked him, so you agree? Ngininda said yes. And Nisi said, so Kelly says the suspect had a golden inset. The court has heard that this house is small, a tiny 4-roomed township house. And the description of the witness...
Ramona, thank you very much for your generous gift. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Ramona. Bless you. Thank you. And he said could be faulted because the house was small, which means their observation could not be faulted. They were not 7 or 10 meters away. They were actually looking at each other in their faces. So would that not mean that Kelly was very close to this witness to even see that this person had a gold inset in their teeth? Baloyi said Advocate Nisi has told the court that he has read the case of the state versus Mthethwa. This is a point that can be argued. And Nisi said that he thinks that Advocate Baloyi is correct, but what he's trying to bring to this witness is that when Kelly says the intruder had a gold inset, does it not mean that she may have been close enough to witness it? Means she saw the face, right, in a normal world. Then Nisi said Kelly also told Steenkamp that the gun torter had an old black revolver. In your investigation in this case, did you come across information that could come to the belief that she didn't know what she was talking about regarding the revolver? Ngininda said, my lord, in her statement, she does not mention the revolver. Secondly, when the investigation kicked in and her name was mentioned as the trigger point, she then became a person of interest. A person like that would raise concerns. You're dealing with someone that is questionable and alleged to have participated in the commission of the crime. You'd be making a grave mistake. She also did not have a license to possess a firearm. Oh my God, not this license possession thing again. Nisi then said Longwe also describes the same firearm as a .38 special, and Ngininda said she's also not trained on firearms, so that removes the description because he does not have the necessary expertise. That different revolvers, and not all revolvers are .38 specials that require specific expertise. Then Nisi said, my question was whether they found anything that said that this description was wrong. Ngininda said, yes, my lord, the ballistic expert who visited this crime scene found the projectile recovered there was a 9mm. That is objective evidence. Now take what Mr. Mangena with a qualification who says, this is what I found in Longotala. who does not have the necessary expertise. Same with Kelly Khumalo. So Mnisi argued that the one does not need a license to Google firearms. I mean, he even used an example of saying that kids watching a television seeing the current state president, because they don't have a license now, they cannot say that that is the current state president. And of course they argued that it was a bad example. Baloi said it was a bad example, and it was all very interesting of seeing Nisi trying to explain to Brigadier Ngininda how his reasoning with regards to this license situation is out of control. But
look, the good follow-up question, I think, would be, I hear you that you are saying there was a 9mm that was found on the scene, also on top of the fact that there is a contamination of the scene that could have happened there, right?
yes.
Would you also not look at the fact that there is no cartridges there that we find on that scene? Wouldn't that also be in line with the revolver, as much as the so-called people do not have the expertise, but yet there is one thing that seems to be consistent, is that there is a revolver does not eject cartridges, and there were no cartridges on the scene.
Only projectiles were found, which is very strange.
Perhaps there is an element of planting of these so-called evidence that we are dealing with, that we are finding it hard as a defense to accept, because that area or wherever Senzo was shot, it was already contaminated. So it could have been planted.
I still can't get over one of the statements from one of the officers who worked with Mangena, saying that they allegedly saw him take out a cartridge from, not a cartridge, man, a bullet from the door. Allegedly. I'm still horrified.
Yes, on the basis of the fact that we are hearing such, there is a statement such as that. What do you make of that? Should we then accept that everything is fine just because on the scene there was that? Did you investigate to that point? Did you investigate that point? Did you collaborate that point, or you didn't care? You just cared that someone, there is a bullet, and then you take that bullet.
You needed to prove that they were intruders,
because
and there was no revolver that was used. If
there was planting of those bullets, obviously they're not gonna be cartridges.
Yeah.
Because you don't think of planting even cartridges.
They're never gonna be found, and it's rare. On 3 shots, 3 bullets, you cannot find a single cartridge.
And then there comes this ballistic expert, tells us about it could have been taken by the clothes and whatnot. What kind of garbage is that?
The very same ballistic
Whose clothes could that be? I mean,
who is alleged?
You are shooting in the house, there are people, there was an intruder. If it went to Kelly's clothes, then Kelly would have been able to reveal it. If it went to Zandi's clothes, Zandi would have been able to reveal it. It supports the theory of a revolver, like it or not.
How can we also forget the theory of Ntabiseng, who came to testify that
about the bullet,
silver something,
and those bullets are a revolver bullet most of the time,
and gave it to one of the police officers?
There is, it just baffles me that the so-called seasoned.
Where did that silver something that Ntabiseng testified to the effect of go to?
And this is an investigator. You can ask such questions.
Where did
just to put your point across. They can object all they want, it's fine, but put your point across so that when you argue it, it has basis.
Those are very important details that
do ask about the fact that there are no cartridges. Do ask about the fact that there might have been contamination of that scene.
Yes.
Do ask about the statement. This is an investigator, someone who was supposed to corroborate everything.
Yes. And make it make
even
sense.
If they object, But then that gives you the basis to argue properly without being timid.
Yes, or being told that you didn't raise this before, you didn't cross-examine on it. Now it's time to cover everything, all the bases, all of these allegations that were thrown. Ginako, hoy them there.
So as much as he's defending and is using, also use your way of defending Unamnisore. But also, we cannot ignore the fact that there are no cartridges there, don't we?
Yes.
Can't we? Did you find,
ignore.
or are there any cartridges that perhaps the state has not revealed to us? So we are bound also, on behalf of our client, to believe that there is that theory of a revolver. As much as you think that there might have been a mistake that these witnesses were doing because they didn't know guns and whatnot, but it seems as if there is consistency in their mistakes in such a way that they all describe this gun in this form, and also there is consistency of these cartridges not being on the scene.
Nisi argued that one does not need a license to Google firearms, and Ngininda said yes, you do not need a license, but an expert who's trained comes to the scene and says he found this type of projectile. He's trained and has expertise. Now it cannot be said that the person with no expertise or a certificate with the greatest of respect is accurate than the expert. Well, Nisi said that he will argue this point, but he indicated that, you know what, he was getting tired because at some point he didn't remember who the current president is while he was trying to give that example.
That was
of
on
that.
purpose.
Well, on top of everything else, you know what comes to mind before we let the callers in about this whole situation, about now him talking about certificates and expertise and what.
Yes.
Remember how I expressed when Mangena was testifying that it's almost as if he was under pressure to make that firearm match with the bullet that was found at the scene.
Yes.
I cannot get over that pressure that I could pick up. You know, it's first you test it, it's inconclusive, and then you go back and test it and it's a match. What is going on?
Yeah. Let us hear what you guys have to say quickly.
The lines
Each
are now
2
open.
minutes max.
Yeah.
2 minutes. Let's try to get more people, and if there are no people, that'll be also a good thing, because I mean,
Brigadier Ngininda is talking a lot. Guys.
Zanzi,
I'm
hello.
sorry.
Hello, my darlings. How are you doing?
We're doing great. How are you?
How are you?
Well, I'm all right. Glad to see that you're okay and that, everything is going well.
Yes.
It was another day at the Circus.
Yeah.
The clowns were out and the jugglers and everything. So we just had to keep going and keep watching the circus. I'm going to start today with a quote. I like reading a lot. And this quote is just to praise Captain Nisi, because he's really doing an amazing job. And, an author of a book that I once read said, a wise leader lets the enemy wear itself out, trying to get advantage, then lets its own force throw it off balance. But also, a wise leader decides on victory rather than wishing for it. Okay? So this applies to our captain. Okay? So I just want to say he's doing a wonderful job. Now, what I'm going to say next, I'm going to put a disclaimer and say it's my opinion.
All right.
And it is not of the channel. And I will say alleged. Okay?
Yes.
So that out of the way, I'm going to say, indeed, every trash can needs a lid. And Baloyi has found one in the LIO of the cooking case unit. I've had people say sometimes you have to go low to go up, but I don't know whether this applies in this case. If indeed Baloyi wanted to go up and put his name on the Hall of Fame, did he have to go this low? Did he? Because this is the lowest form of lowest. This is like low, 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 low. He should be ashamed of himself In fact, all of them who could see from the start that this is a bogus case should be ashamed of themselves. The ship is sinking very slowly, and I can hear all of them sinking nearer my Satan to thee. Statements changed because they were trying to fix, obviously, the inconsistencies. Hence, they kept coming back months and years later to amend their statements. They were trying to make sure that their stories are the same and they fit the narrative. It's quite obvious. That is why a gun that was described specifically as a revolver is now a 9mm. Okay? Because Kelly was a trigger point. What she reported to Ms. Steenkamp is irrelevant. That is what he's telling us. But at the same time, what Kelly reported in his statement is what the court must go by. And his rationale is that she doesn't have or didn't have a firearm license, so she would not know a revolver. What nonsense is that? So because you don't have a driver's license, you shouldn't be trusted when you say, I saw an old black Cadillac. This is unbelievable. When this guy speaks, sometimes I sit and I ask myself, can he actually hear what he's saying? Can he hear himself? Can he really hear himself when he's talking? I mean, because his reasoning capacity for an LLB candidate is really questionable. I'm in disbelief, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? Like, did they tell him that even though his face is not visible to the public, people can hear him talking? He's on live TV. Does he know that he's on live TV? Yeah. Does he know? Maybe he doesn't know that he's live on TV. Offering his assistance to verify the details. It's a registration, FFC or he jumped so quickly, like he wants to assist. He's Mr. Fix-It. He wants to be, and he's helpful like that. When he said, I'm like that, I like to help. You know what? What to say now? Because he has a good heart. I think he is just trying so hard to save himself with long-winded explanations. And the more he talks, the more he veers off the state case. He's throwing the state case under the bus with all these long explanations. And when he stands up, I'm looking at him and thinking, oh, shame, Skepsen. Look at him. I'm sure, but I will end this call by saying to my 5 brothers in the dock, Sibia, Ntanzi, Nobe, Mapisa, and Tuli, trust in the words of one of my favorite authors when he says, if you wait by the river long enough, the bodies of your enemies will float by. So the cries of the wicked shall be heard in the deep valleys of Nongoma. That's where I will end my call today. I love you guys. You take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just to re-emphasize, all is alert.
Everything
and all
is alert.
are the views of the caller,
I'm
not
clapping
of the
for
channel.
the end quote, that nice little quote that we were left with.
Yeah.
That's what I'm clapping for.
Oh, yeah. So there is something to discuss. I see people saying that they had that Kelly could have been playing with a gun and confession and all. Let me tell you something. I'm just going to say this once. There is no such thing as that. There is no such thing as that.
How Mr. Ano
You see, that one of Kelly could have been the one who pulled the trigger. That theory was fed with a purpose, and it did its purpose. And I'll tell you, leave that bus. It's long gone. It's long gone. Don't even board on that bus. It's long gone. Anyone who comes and say Kelly pulled the trigger, allegedly, I don't believe there is no such. I'll tell you why.
Why, Mr. Ano? You don't want to
think about it. Kelly right now is being thrown under the bus. What is stopping someone from throwing Kelly fully under the bus and say, yeah, there was an issue of a gun that they can dispute that it was part of them, and say there is always a way, man, of working these things around. I think we have seen
the intruders. She did it. She did it. It would
know,
be so easy.
It would be so easy. There is no such thing, man, guys. Come on. You know, Kelly can be anything, but this one of pulling the trigger, nah, it didn't. I can tell you.
I used to believe it too.
Nah, no, it didn't.
But now
that's a theory that you can be fed.
Are unfolding in court. I've changed my mind.
That is a theory that is fed or by people who have interest in this case. That's a theory that doesn't just come out of nowhere. It's a theory that was born because there was an issue that people needed to deal with. There was this irritating, itching skin or something that needed to be dealt with, and it was done. Because all of a sudden the theory changed and everything changed. We focused on that. And then look at where it got us. First time when I heard that thing, was it on an interview with Advocate Tifo? Was it that?
I think Advocate Tifo said it in court.
In court, yes. Yes,
well,
yeah, it was in court. It was in court. It was a distraction.
I was like, yeah, maybe.
No, it was a distraction.
You know, maybe.
No, it was a distraction.
But then now, what I'm seeing in court doesn't tell me that Kelly did it. If she did it from the very beginning, what I believe, in my opinion, would have happened is
she would be in jail.
Yeah.
Definitely in jail. Directly in jail.
And there wouldn't be this intruder thing and the Ncubes and the hitman and the mastermind and this whole thing that we are riding through. I don't think would be happening.
No. Leave that theory, man. Mzansi, hello. Mzansi, hello.
Hello, Mzansi Reality.
Okay, let's give you time to fix the background. Yeah, but that theory, man, leave it. Forget about it. Anyone who talks about that theory, icon. Something is not right.
Do you think maybe to throw us off?
That's a problem.
To make us lose focus on what's in court and to focus on
that, honestly speaking, that theory is bogus. It just doesn't make sense. It has no basis.
I bought it, guys, for many years, ever since Advocate Tifo said it. I was like, there's something there. But now,
whether it was a mistake, whether it was by force, whether it was by, it just does not exist.
Kelly is not that powerful, guys.
It just does not exist. Just know that it does not exist. There is no such. It was made, it was created.
And she has fame, she's not this powerful.
No, it doesn't exist. You should just, that theory, and think about it now and just sit down and think about it. Here is the situation. An illegal, maybe gun, let's assume it was illegal gun, shot someone.
Yeah.
And Kelly is a girlfriend.
Yes.
Easy to paint Kelly as a jealous woman who went and found a gun from somewhere and shot Senzo. Simple, straightforward.
Yes.
Straightforward. Straightforward.
Yes.
You exclude everyone who carried the gun and you just say he went and found a gun somewhere. He can come and say, I find a gun and so and so. It's the theory of Kelly versus almost everyone in that house. You know? The power. As you can see currently what is happening even with Zandi singing a certain tune that is on the line, it's on the edge. You know, it's not clear whether he's with a sister or not. If you ask me.
She doesn't know whether
she doesn't know where she stands, even herself, in my opinion. You know, that's all I can say. If you still believe in that theory, icon, there is no mistake that happened here. In terms of pulling the trigger, Kelly, she will be in jail.
I know she would have been.
She would be in jail. And she wouldn't have called people, if you ask me. She wouldn't have called anyone. She probably would have went and gave herself. Mzansi, hello. Mzansi, hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, Mr. Nan.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Hey, Mr. Nan and Emily, how are you?
We are good.
How are you?
We're good. You can shoot.
Good. Just my 2 cents worth around this issue, right? First time calling. Today I decided to stay up all night so that I can. I'm tired. I got tired of catching us in the morning. So my 2 cents worth. For instance, remember when Shololo was examining about Tumelo and all those. I remember in the first place when this case started, Shololo was interrogating them about the alcohol intake, right? They were adamant that they didn't drink so much, right? Mm-hmm. If I were to take that into consideration, I would believe that whatever the gun that they saw, they were in the sober state. So whether that gun was a revolver, whatever, the name of the gun doesn't matter. The bottom line is the gun had a will. As a witness, as a layman, if a gun has a will, the gun has a will. Whether that gun is called a revolver, is called what is that is for the experts to determine. You know. So that's why I kind of felt like the example that Missy made, it was a bit out, but the point that he was making, even the judge could see. He knew exactly what the point that Missy was making. Yes. So they were just relying on semantics above everything. Yeah. But as a witness, if I say the gun had a will, and I don't know what the name of that gun is, but if it's a will, it's a will. Yes. The will, then the expert will come and say, if it has got a will, then it's a revolver. If it's a revolver, then you don't expect to see any cartridges or whatever that is called. That is the bottom line. Yeah. What is called a revolver, what is called Mr. Arno, that gun is called Emily, it doesn't matter. But bottom line is the gun had a wheel. You don't even expect to see a wheel on a gun. Yes. Thank you guys. Let me give you a chance. First time caller. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you. Right. Yes. People, like I would say this. You see, YouTube has created, and the caller has a point actually.
Yeah.
YouTube has created that thing. As much as you would like to believe there are people who want the truth and there are people who are up chasing something else. And you'll come with a lot of theories and you'll hear a lot of theories. And that's okay. I mean, it's your right. But in all honesty, sit down. Yes, Kelly must come and explain what happened in that house. Yes. And
definitely,
in my opinion, people who were in that house, they know and what happened in the house. And in my opinion, they all deserve to go to jail for whatever reason.
Befitting the end of justice, allegedly.
I'm not even gonna put names. I'm gonna say they all deserve to go to jail, all of them. That's it. All you can allege according to what you want to allege. In my opinion, I believe that, but. In terms of who pulled the trigger, think about it. Someone comes in with a gun. Someone runs out through those people that had a gun. They don't shoot him. You run away. You are aware of the scene, but yet you can explain what happened in that scene. Come on, man.
You're so okay.
Niyathanda ukusikhulumisana.
We're going after Kelly.
She
went to the bedroom, but you ran away. But you
we don't wanna start. Come on, man, guys. Come on. I believe people who are here in Mzansi, there are certain things they wouldn't believe. Come on.
No, and I saw something that made me leave and abandon this theory. I've gotten off that bus. I was in it for a while, and I was like, what if, Mara? What if? But now I'm out of that bus. I saw something that made me change my mind completely. And once this case maybe it's done, I will share it. But for now, no, it's not.
But safe. In all honesty, come on, guys, come on. Everyone was in the house except the two who ran out for some weird reason. I only believe in that house. There was, before the incident, no one ran out of that house. After the incident, yes, I believe there was people who ran out of the house.
Because Ubani, let us cancel.
You know, and that is in line with what we heard from Ncube saying. After the shots, then he started seeing the
people
runners
running out.
Yes, I can believe that. It is in line with what the Ncube saw. I can believe that. You know, no one, in my opinion, left that house before the shooting of Senzo. No one. That's my opinion. No one left that house. I mean, you think about it. You know, yes, maybe Kelly was a wounded girlfriend. Yes. He wanted to keep Senzo. Yes. He might say whatever he's saying on the media. He was bigger than Senzo. But yes, Senzo,
but
we wanted to keep him.
As a person who followed the tabloid, Kelly fought for Senzo. Okay.
Yeah. But in terms of
she was fighting.
In terms of her pulling our
girl was fighting Shem.
That information, it comes from a certain direction. That's my worry. That information comes from a certain direction.
But what could it want to achieve or want to do?
Distraction. Exoneration. Because in everything, people have been saying, so cannot kill even a fly. You know,
okay, don't spell it out. Don't do that. Let's sit on it and wait for the events to unfold, and then we'll be like, yeah, this is what meant. But for now, this
is a mess. I'm surprised that I'm just surprised that there are people who really believe that theory is something to hold on to. Ask yourself, who's the author of that theory? If you can find that, I will give you money. Where did it come from? It's easy to trace it.
I have my suspicions, but I'm not going to say them.
It's easy to trace it. I can even give you hints. You guys want me to talk, but
no, don't put yourself in trouble. Let's wait for the court to go to conclude.
All is alleged, guys. It's a buy. I think we see. Asif Valela. Thank you from the callers. Thank you from the givers. We appreciate you. But before Vale, as niggas ituba one. Mzansi, hello.
Mzansi Reality, how are you?
We're good, sir. How are you?
Yes, sir. Hello.
Seems as if you are struggling. Okay. Right. Sizamile, you are muted, actually. You muted yourself. The caller muted themselves. Yeah. So, Sizamile, guys, thank you. Gaivala Minala. And Zobonga nje ku Owen. I'm sorry from the caller, you muted yourself. It's written muted on my side. Net, Shanji Osibanda, Msia, thank you, Tapiwa, thank you, Net, Sfiso Sindani, and Nomapaseka, Dipuo, Stelo Mloi, we appreciate you, Mrs. K, we appreciate you, Msongelo and Love, thank you. We appreciate you, Lula Masrai. Thank you, Johanna. Thank you, Mtokozi Slang. Thank you. We appreciate you, our moderator. Lungelwa, Matel. Thank you. We appreciate you. Mzansi, hello.
Hi, Ms. Anna and Sizamili.
Hi, say, how are you?
I'm good. I know it's late now. It's almost time to call it a day for you,
Yes.
so that you can rest and be ready again for the AIO. IO, you need to be ready and well rested
Yes.
to listen.
Yes.
Okay. Firearms. If you guys you don't own an iPhone, you cannot tell whether it's an iPhone 11 or it's an iPhone whatever, because you don't own one. Don't have a license.
That is the level
So you
of
won't know.
thinking. Yes.
I know Kelly will not know the gun.
Yes.
Longo, even though he doesn't have a license, Longo would know the gun. His father owns one. He knows the gun. So the only issue with the IO, you want to rubbish everyone with the same reason. But I'm saying, if my father has got guns, I would like to know about guns. And if Kelly says it's an old revolver,
yes,
and she is an eyewitness,
yes,
how come you, who came in 2018, you are able to say it's a 9mm? How? Because you did not talk to the people inside the house. That's why.
Yeah.
Because if you talk to the people inside the house, because even this story of them with a 9mm, you know, there's the casings for the gun when it goes out and then it blows out. Where are they? Where they have got 2 bullets or 3 bullets that they say they had. It's only a bullet is found, but no casing is there. Does that make sense to you? I don't think so. Photos and linkages. I will repeat it again, Mr. Anu. No one will go to jail based on a photo that is on your phone. No one can go to jail for that.
Yes.
And then linkage. I'm just happy that today the IO is removing himself. But I don't have expertise to comment on what Stein said. But you use this information. He's saying he got a report. Where is the report that you got from Stein? If it's not this diagram that is showing, and a diagram cannot talk to itself. It has got notes that Nish was reading. And listening to Stein, I know with confidence there was communication between accused 5. Alleged communication between accused 5 and Kelly. But nothing for accused 3, except this bag of money that they always refer to. That I don't know up to now where are we going with the bag of money, because it's not going to take us anywhere.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know how. For myself, I cannot separate a linkage from the communication, because based on Stein, it looks like the same thing. Because that was how he was linking them. Because even his linkage at times was not making sense. Remember, he was saying, if accused 3 called FNB, the bank, and Kelly called FNB, they had a common number that they called, so they were links. And then I was saying, but if you are calling a public place, you cannot call it a common denominator, because it's a public place. Yes. If I call clientele legal and then you call clientele legal, you cannot say we are linked, because it's a public place. Anyone can call it.
True.
So let's see. I like Mr. Nish's one. I like it. You see that FFC number? It will take someone down, that FFC number. I wonder how it was put in that confession. Yes. It's a good thing it was put. Yes. Because once that thing comes out and it doesn't link to Mjiago, even the confession then it's done, man. It's finished. Even the confession will be done. Yeah. That's why the judge is trying to distance himself from. You can't do that. Why he can't do it? Why? Because Ngininda is the same guy who was running around looking for the doctor who had died. Then he must run around and look for this FSC number. Bring us this FSC number.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Those are my 2 points there.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate you.
They went around looking for that doctor.
Right. That's it, guys. Thank you very much. Madlupu to just think. We appreciate you. Siyayivala bafowethu, siyabonga nje. Thank you. All is alleged, and this is just a public opinion, man. What can you say? We're just saying what we think, and it's public. All we're using is public knowledge, public information. That's it. Bye from us.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much for joining.